Okay. Are you ready for me, Dr. Mahapatra?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much for coming this morning. You all received a copy of the minutes. Have you read them? If so, are there any corrections to the minutes or amendments in any way or additions?
I don't think most people could open it.
Oh, do you want to read it then, Corinne, or should we?
Well,
Because I scanned it and sent it to everyone.
oh, bless you.
Yeah, so
Oh,
everyone
well,
got a copy of the minutes.
yay.
Okay, so they did receive it because I made it part of my package. Yeah.
Oh,
Dorothy?
Okay.
Yeah, as a point of order, I
Yeah.
think, I don't know that you need minutes from the 19th. I mean, that's a regular, but that wasn't a board meeting, right? It was.
right. I don't care.
No, it was
I
just a regular meeting. It's the first time we'd had one, ever. First time we'd ever had minutes of an actual meeting.
Yeah, and if we don't need them, that's okay. But I just did it.
Right. Yeah.
And we appreciate, and it's nice. I mean, I think going forward, you don't necessarily need to do it for, and
Okay.
and I talked to Corinne about it too. But
Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody,
Forget it.
it's okay with everyone. Okay, all right. Okay. The professor, tell us about your great cardiac report.
Repeat again.
Your cardiac report from your doctor.
Oh, well, no change, meaning my first heart attack was 2011, December 13. At that time, I think I recovered, but I did lose, and it came back only either to 78% or 87%.
Oh, that's great.
It
Yeah.
was not 100%.
Mhm.
At least on the last checkup, because I did have a symptom November 5th, I think, or 4th, of similar getting another heart attack. So they had taken care of me and then been checking me every 3 months. And last checkup was Thursday of last week. And there is no change. So I am maintaining whatever I had back in December 2011. So
Perfect.
that's semi good news or good news.
Yes, that's very good news because your heart can repair itself. So that's very, very good. Ward and
I did tell my grandchildren to keep me alive until they go to at least freshman in college.
Ward, you're doing better, I understand, from having your back injection, right?
Well, I have a pacemaker inserted in my heart since I think the last time I was
Oh.
at one of these meetings.
Oh,
I can't hear it or feel it doing anything, but
you're not supposed to. That's great.
that's
Welcome to the
probably a
club.
good thing. But it's nice to be back.
Yeah, you only hear it and feel it if it's not doing great. Okay, so you don't want to hear it. Okay, and Greg is doing well. And let's see, as you all know, that Steve Rosen has resigned from the club because he's moving to Scottsdale. Richard Balco has asked to resign from the club because he's doing most of his business outside of California, so he will not be here that often. So we got that email this past Thursday. And I understand that Paul Evans has resigned. Now, just so you're aware, there seems to be something about he sent me a resignation letter. I've never received a resignation letter from Paul Evans. I have been trying to get a hold of him for January, February, March, and the first part of April. I've been emailing him. I've been calling him. I've asked Martha McCool and I've asked Claudette back when. I said, has anybody had any contact with this gentleman? And they said, well, he travels a lot, so he's probably not in the desert. So I just want you to know that I had done everything I could to make contact with this gentleman because I wanted to meet with him and I wanted to get to know him because I'd only personally seen him on Zoom 3 times that I'm aware of that he was on Zoom. So I was very concerned about, that summer was coming and I wanted to really meet him desperately. Okay, so just so you're aware.
Dorothy,
So has
Dorothy, we've
anybody
had
else?
Dorothy, we did,
resignation letters,
I'm sorry,
and we've
Ward.
had the resignation letters, and we've had exit interviews and many things recently from people I don't think I've ever met at the club, actually. And I say to myself, who are these people? So many of these things don't terribly concern me about the health club.
Paul Evans
Yeah.
is a brand new member.
Well,
It was,
We
Ralph,
processed him and Ralph at the same time.
right. And he transferred to the Palm Desert
Yeah.
Club. He informed us of that. And I think Mahapatra asked him about a letter and he just sent Mahapatra an email saying, here it is. I think that was it as far as the email. So, I mean, I think the club was adequately informed.
I did not know he had resigned. I just, from time to time, I do speak to him. That's when he told me very last one that
Yeah.
he sent a letter to Dorothy. So I asked him to attach an email to that. That's what and then I discovered the error that he had made, which
Right.
was the letter had a wrong address. It was addressed to Dorothy, but wrong address.
okay.
So
But I have been emailing and leaving voicemails on his house phone and on his cell phone, just so that you're aware. Okay,
and he sent me the email attachment of his resignation letter. I forwarded to all of you that are on my Indian Wells Google group.
Well, can we move on and deal with the future?
Yes.
okay, now.
I wanted to thank Doug for sending out the Rotary
Yeah.
membership list. That was really a nice thing to do, and thank you for that.
Mhm.
The only thing I can see missing is Chris Freeland's name on it.
Well, there was some question in my mind whether or not he actually is a member yet. You know, we had that discussion at the board meeting as to whether or not he actually is a member. You guys, I mean, there was some confusion about that and whether you're going to follow the process that is called for by the bylaws. I see Corinne's shaking her head, yes. So you have to do that, but no, I left his name off intentionally, and I left AJ's on intentionally, even though AJ said he was taking a leave of absence, going to consider whether he wants to resign or not. So I did that, brought it up to date. I tried to do that for Corinne so that she has now, to the extent that I had the knowledge I had, I've imparted that on her so that she can.
Yeah, I really appreciated that, Doug. And I would have interpreted exactly the same way that Chris hasn't yet joined. So I will put him on when that's officially done. And
What
again, I
step do we
appreciate
need to
that
take?
work.
What step do we have left to take?
Well, there's the bylaws issue where.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, the
So-
bylaws.
Decide whether you're going to follow them or not.
What does the bylaw require?
It requires that it be a notice go out to all the members. If anybody has any concerns, they write it to the board. They give written information to the board. The board then votes on whether the person should be admitted or not. And then they are officially admitted.
Do we have to write it, or can I just ask the board now, or ask the membership right now about it?
Requires.
Yeah, sure, you could do that.
Could,
but not everybody's on Zoom, so.
it requires, I thought it required an official vote of the membership.
I don't think so. It's just that it presented to the membership. As I understand it, I didn't read it, but I heard Greg talking about it. And it's my understanding that it is presented to the membership. And then if anybody has any concerns, they write to the board. The board then votes.
That's right.
The board, okay. I
That's
agree.
exactly the way we've done it
Process.
past, so.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
well,
I'd like
makes
to
sense.
get the process going, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Oh.
and also it's a matter of the dues must be paid by the person who's being asked to join for them to become an actual member. Okay, so the question is, being as how we're in April, do you want him to pay a portion of dues, or do you just want to hold off his total membership for July 1st? It's whatever you want to do.
We usually prorated it in the past.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it'd be a proration.
Okay, yeah.
And then
That's
I
fine
think
with me.
the next step ought to be that somebody, maybe it's Corinne, should go ahead and put together an email to the membership.
Right.
Stating that Chris has applied for membership. If anybody has a problem, is concerned about his membership, to, reply.
And
Okay,
give a certain date by which they need to
By a
reply.
Yeah.
okay.
That's fine.
Doug, are you the sponsor of Chris?
Actually, Dorothy and I both hammered him. I think even Claudette hammered him as well, all three of us, to get him to agree. So.
Well, can you let him know?
I didn't hammer him. It was when I asked him to be a speaker. He said, well, are you going to ask me one more time to become a member? I said, do I have to? He said, no. So.
Yeah, so.
Well, then
I
the
mean,
sponsor needs to go back to him and get the check.
I'm happy to get the check. Well, the city will be paying his dues, of course. So we'll have to get a check cut from the city, and you'll have to go through that process. But
Okay,
that should not stop the club from going forward to accept him as a member.
Just that we can't, Corinne, as secretary, you can't put his name in until we receive the dues check into Rotary, big Rotary, okay?
Okay, yeah, on the list.
On
but
the list for Rotary, yeah. New
Right.
membership, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, moving on. Since we have so much discussion about the articles of the bylaws of the club, I thought it would be a great idea if we appoint a parliamentarian who will oversee the bylaws and make sure that everything is done correctly. And so with your vote and approval, I would like to create that position of parliamentarian for the Indian Wells Rotary. And I asked Greg if he would be willing to take that, because he is an attorney and he answered all of our questions at our other meetings. And he said that he would be glad to. So it's up to us whether or not you would like to have that position. I think it's much needed for complete understanding of the bylaws, so that there's no self-interpretation.
Yes.
good idea.
Good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Okay.
agree.
This is for Mrs. Tower. Do we need to, as a board, vote him in? Dorothy recommends the name, but the board actually votes.
Mhm.
I don't think you,
Yeah.
it's like a committee member, and the committee members are not voted on individually. The president,
Well, I move we create the position of parliamentarian. We need to do that.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it needs to be like a board member, because he needs to be at all meetings in case there's any type of discussion. Don't you agree? Or no?
I would. I second the motion.
Yeah. I
That
third it.
he be a member of the board.
That we create a position of parliamentarian and to be a member of the board, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Is there a second motion?
Dick
I
second.
did.
Dick did.
There is,
Okay. Since I presented it, I can't. Okay, so is it?
No,
you can vote.
Well, I can't make motions, okay?
No, you got motions.
I got
You got a motion and a second.
Okay.
Call for the question and vote. Let's go.
Okay, so it has been seconded, first and seconded. Does everyone agree on the position on the board?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Super. Thank you. I think it's much needed.
Anyone opposed? No.
Okay, now here comes the hard one, Rotary dues.
Yes,
As you know, the International is raising everyone's dues by $8 that we have to pay them. So right now we're paying $2.25. Is that right for our dues?
yes.
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 So I would like to have an open discussion about how much our dues should be, because don't forget, we need to have ours too, so.
Dorothy, I think, first of all, I think you need clarification as to whether or not it's the district. I thought it was a district dues increase and not international. I'm not sure about that, but I think you need to declare, I don't think it's international.
No,
I
you're
may be
right, it's
wrong.
district, it's
I
district.
think it's
Yeah,
district dues.
yeah,
The district
Because-
increased at $8.
right, because let me explain to you, the district had to increase because they're noticing that there's the fall off, that clubs are shutting down, membership is dropping, and then also the same thing on the international side. So they're trying to make up the difference, that there has been tremendous, I know of 4 clubs that have totally shut down due to lack of membership or lack of participation or even doing anything. So that's part of so they're trying to make up for the fall of revenue.
Well, that's a good way to do it. Increase the dues. You want to grow membership, but increase dues.
It's counter economics 101.
Because
Fundamental.
you're going to be getting things like, this is a little bit off the picture, but you're going to be getting some news and stuff like that later on in the new term about how grants and donations and, where you meet 50-50 and all that is going to change. You're not going to have the money for as long as you think you're going to have it. And where they're really hurting with that side of Rotary, just so that you're aware that if you don't use your money up in 5 years, you're going to lose it. So there's all this kind of stuff that is going to be going on within international and the district, just so that you're aware. So,
In fact, that is correct. If you don't lose, there are certain funds over 5 years, it goes back. And that's the reason last year I grabbed it.
yeah, that's why we went and grabbed that money. Yeah, that's right. So that we didn't lose it.
It was not enough, so we sort of, I think, I and somebody else, we put some more equal amount and gave it out.
So we need to now decide, do we want to raise Rotary's dues? Doug, I think you proposed in an email to raise the dues to $250, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I did. I
So make a
first thought the
motion.
dues was 250 and I said 275, then I was corrected. So because generally when we send out an invoice, we send out an invoice then ask for $25 for international, for the Paul Harris. So so anyway, yeah, $25 increase.
So it'd be 250.
Is that a
Yes, it
motion?
would be 250.
Yeah.
Make a
I'm
motion.
a Republican, I'm a Democrat. I want only minimum wage increase, $15.
Doug, are you gonna make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we increase the dues to $250 annually.
Seconded.
Second.
It has been
Oh, second.
first
Call
and
for the
seconded.
vote.
All those in
Well,
favor?
let's do
Wait.
discussion now.
There
Now
is
it's open for discussion.
Of the dues being raised to 250.
US,
Moved to Arizona where it's cheaper.
Dick had a question or a comment. No? Oh, he's voting.
no, he is muted. Unmute, please.
Dick,
Mr.
unmute.
Unmute, please.
Oh, you muted again.
You missed
You
it.
muted
I
yourself.
was voting.
Oh,
Don't double click.
Any discussion about the dues being raised to 250?
Let me ask you, do we know what comparable dues are for La Quinta and Palm Desert, just out of curiosity?
Good question.
'Cause
that's our competition, right? I mean,
Well,
we're trying to
I
get
mean,
members.
the point is, our members our dues are so low now that if you don't increase the dues with the $8 increase, you're going to have to find a different way to cover the total cost of the. So
Well, how much of the 225 goes to the club or
At the end of the day, you don't have
But
much choice.
Doug, how does it
Unless
work?
you want to make an
How mu-
additional donation.
How much goes to the district? How much to international? And what does the club retain, Doug?
I don't have those numbers right
Okay.
now, off the top of my head, but
Does anybody?
I do know that if you don't cover that the 225 today barely covers the cost of the operations of the club.
And the other
I
thing,
said before that what went, I don't know how it broke down, but we got a bill from the district. Is that right? As to what we had to give after we collected the 225? They sent us a bill.
Yeah, they
Wasn't it?
sent you an invoice and so does International.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. One of them was $65 a member, or is that what we retained after we paid everybody?
I don't remember.
All right, I just found out La Quinta's dues are not $195.
Because I'm gonna get some more.
But they're gonna be
just
paying
checked
the same thing to the district, yeah.
Yeah. So
They have to pay because every club is billed the same amount.
they'll probably raise theirs by at least that much.
the district charges the same amount. And so, I mean,
Right.
if you can afford it, I say yes. I mean, if you want to learn a little bit about economics 101, which Ed knows, Ed Tauber, you make it more attractive, like a Ferrari, people will pay the price.
Doug, has that $25, remember, been sent to the foundation? Has that actually been sent to the foundation?
I wouldn't know right off the bat. I'm sorry, because that was under the treasurer's. And I've never heard of that money being sent, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen, just that I was never informed.
So he's going to go back through the books and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we will.
It's been charged to the members.
It used to be $25 for everybody, went to 25 to somebody paying $250. $25 went to that foundation. So every member, it's got some kind of a foundation involved. So that used to be. So, I'm still hoping everybody join foundation to donate it, some kind of money, then we can get recognized from the district or, international, that our club is 100%, it's the join. So I hope that one is still doing. As you know, in Indian Wells is a well-known rich city in the world, and then it's somebody join, and then should be everybody participating in the foundation. So,
Son, the fact is, we need the money in our club. The $25 for the foundation can be additional for those who are up to pay the 25. But of this increase, the fact is we have no money in the club. Well, it's so little, we need that money.
Going back to Frederick's question, not everybody paid the $25 to go to the foundation. Only a portion of the members did. And those funds were transferred to the foundation with the
Were they transferred?
Were they
transferred in the name of the people who gave?
That's exactly what I was trying to say, Ward. In the name of the person that made the $25.
So when we got our invoice.
I think that's what
think back.
Bang was trying to say as well.
When we got our invoice from the club, we got an invoice for $225 for dues, and then it said, if you wish to donate the other 25 for blah, 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 you wrote a check for 275. Is that right?
250.
250, I'm sorry.
250 for 250. That's
Okay,
right.
That's
all
right.
right. So do you wish to continue doing that?
Yeah, we're raising our dues to 250 if we pass this motion, and we still have that line in there.
The option.
There's mandatory of 250 and
250.
voluntary of $25
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
foundation.
Who did the
any
motion?
any more discussion
did the
on
motion.
the raising of the dues or
Chuck's got a
pro and
question.
con?
Chuck,
Mr. Porter has a question.
Yes, sir.
Just looking at this fine, very nice profit and loss statement that Doug sent out, I see for the period July through January, so it's not the full year, but our expenses were $4,720, and our dues to district and to international took out $3,670 out of that. So we only had $1,050 left for the club. And there's a credit card processing fee I see that wasn't included in that total. So that's an additional expense we have to cover. So
Chuck, what was the 4,500? What was the expense?
the total expense,
4,700?
Yeah. The
Well, what was
total
it for?
operating expense.
yeah,
What
that's
operating expense?
without the card
Rod,
processing.
Rod, you got a copy of the P and L in,
I don't have it in front of me right now. If you want to email it to me, Doug, I'll take a look at it.
I don't have it on my, I
I scanned it and sent it to everyone in your.
Dorothy sent it to you in the package she gave you today.
Well, all I ask is what are the 40, I mean, I don't need to look at the report. What's,
If you wait, I can read you what they are.
okay,
Thank you,
Okay,
Dorothy.
we had assembly registration fees, $25. We had bank fee of $28. Postage, $55. Printing and copying, we had a credit of $13.69. Rotary district dues were $832. Rotary international dues was $2,838.54. So you can see the majority of our dues does go to international.
that was 2,800?
2,800, And the tax prep fee, that's from our CPA, was $530. Telephone and communications was $119, and the website was $305.28 for a total of $4,700 a year.
What's the telephone and
Plus-
communications?
plus, Wait
That
a
would
minute,
be,
Dorothy,
wait a minute,
plus
Chuck, wait a minute.
$1,361 for card processing.
well, that's just automatically. You have no choice over that. That's your fee. That's your fee for credit card. Everybody who like at the lunches paid by credit card, there's a fee for processing that credit card.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
We'll start encouraging people to pay cash.
you ought to see what I pay a month. So,
And Dorothy, we have been talking about providing a free lunch for those new members.
No,
That's
we
going to
haven't.
add to the
No.
expense.
no,
No, we
No?
discussed that before. Whoever sponsors the new brings a
I'm
person.
not talking about sponsorship, Floyd. The people that come to the food fair, the farmer's market.
Oh, you're giving them lunch?
Well, we've talked about it.
No.
We're inviting them for lunch.
well, that, I thought.
Well, then
that-
you're going to be the respondent. You're going to be the one. If you invite them, you pay for them.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll close the booth today. I mean,
No, I think there should be an understanding that there's a $25 luncheon fee.
If you invite
okay,
them, I'll pay for
let's
them.
add that to the card.
I
Ed,
think if someone wants to come as a guest that we approach at the booth, they can afford $25. If they can't afford it, they're not a prospective member, obviously.
Yeah.
And if we begin to offer that, we're going to have a lot of people showing up for a free lunch. So that's a
Okay.
bad precedent to set.
All
I
right.
think people really want to be a member. They can afford $25 and it's one time. And after that one time, if they decide they don't want to come back, they don't come back.
Okay.
But that's not the, that's not the incentive for us to pay for
No, of
lunch.
course.
It has to be the incentive. They want to join the club.
Right.
It's
I
fine.
think you could say.
But we should have it on the card, don't you
It
think?
should say on your print, luncheon is $25 for members and non-members. I mean, everything I've ever gone to, it says if you're a member, it's this, and it's $25 for your lunch if you're coming as a non-member.
Okay.
So I've been to lots of things where I'm not
That's
a
fine.
member, but I paid for my lunch, so.
Okay. That works.
Okay, so back to the dues. We got a yes or no. So we're increasing the dues to $250 with the $25 option fee. Can I have a first?
You've got the motion.
Yeah,
Most
first
of us
motion
Just call for the question.
to raise the dues to $250, still leaving the $25 option.
Yes.
I
Okay,
am
the question. Oh,
I
you
am on the motion.
Aye.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Aye.
No.
Aye, sir.
Any
okay, so
abstention?
we're raising the
Thank
dues to $250.
I was
Okay.
afraid if I didn't vote yes, Doug would break my arm.
Anyone opposed? Anyone
San Guido.
opposed? Anyone opposed? No, okay, the ayes have it. All right.
Dorothy, by the way, I'd like to say thank you. We were just looking through the agenda. We didn't scroll far enough. Thank you for including the profit and loss.
Oh, yeah, I think I gave you a copy of my complete files, so
Yeah.
just. I believe in transparency. Okay, now the next thing is, this is the big one. This is the view, okay? Now, they are ready to open. Okay, just so everyone's aware, by May 3rd, okay? Now, it's up to us as a club whether or not we open, okay? Live, all right? And you got the contract and you got the copy of the menu, that this is it's on a rotating basis. So like May 3rd would be the club sandwich, just follow your Mondays and it will rotate through, okay? So this is what Sandy, who is now what Steve Rosen was, okay? And you got a copy of the contract, and I wanted everyone to see it because Dr. Mahapatra, as president, you have to sign this contract, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you initial it and sign it, so then you've got a scan of it. And then if the club approves, we just have to tell the View what date do we wish to go live. Live, or do you wish to remain on Zoom through the summer or whatever you want to do? It's up to the club. I'm just sitting here waiting for your response and for Dr. Mahapatra to sign, but they have to know by May 1st what we're doing.
End of the week.
Yeah, the end of the week. Yeah. In fact, I got an email this morning saying, we still haven't heard from you. And I said, well, our meeting is today. So.
One thing you need to remember too, Dorothy, is that first of all, you have to give them a count on
Yeah,
Friday.
I know.
for the meeting. And if the count is higher than what the attendance is, the club has to cover the loss, okay?
I know.
And generally, you have people who say they're going to show up on Friday, but they don't show up on Monday. And we've had to pay
for the lunch,
for 2 and 3. So
Yeah.
that's a potential loss for the club. In
Well,
addition to
it
that,
doesn't have to be though. I think we can tell people that if they commit on Friday and don't show up, they still got to pay for lunch.
then you have to.
Also,
We're not willing to do that before, but if you can get the money out of them, that's good.
Yeah.
Secondly,
Also, we
Secondly,
have to
Dorothy,
be-
if I may, let me just one more thing. You always pay for the speaker, okay? And
Yeah.
sometimes you have the speaker and the guest of the speaker, two people. So you have to cover that cost
I
as
know.
well.
I'm
So those
aware.
are considerations that need to be made when you think about the cost of each lunch for the members.
Well, also,
Yeah, we
they're
covered that
raising
cost.
our price for the lunch. We used to charge all of us $25, and the lunch was $23 per person. That was for the room, the help, the menu, the food, the whole 9 yards. Steve's new proposal to us, which has now been turned over to Sandy, is a flat 25. So we're raising it by $2. So we don't have that $2 coming to the club. That covered tip, everything, okay? So now we have to decide also, what are we charging the members for the price of lunch above and beyond what it costs us to put it on? And my question is that if we say we're going to open up May 3rd, now, first of all, some of you may not want to go live yet, so we have to take that into consideration greatly above everything else. Now, I don't get my second vaccine until May 1st. I don't know if everybody else has been vaccinated, okay? And how you feel about congregating, because we would be back in our big room and they're 8 to a table. But I don't want to be where we tell the view that we'll be there. We'd love to open up on May 3rd. Also, I have to let the speakers know that we're going live. Or do they still wish to be on Zoom? And we have to have the Zoom capability at the view, which I believe we do, but we just need to make sure, because they may not want to come live yet as speakers, okay? So we have to take that into consideration. I don't want to say we're going to be there on May 3rd and only 2 people are coming for lunch, myself and the speaker.
I'll come.
So, you know,
Great.
I don't want to rush you. I don't want to rush the club into going live. It's how everybody feels. So it's open for discussion. And also the price of lunch that we're going to charge the members.
I think the sooner we go live, the better.
I agree.
I have a question. When we we'll meet at the view. What's the minimum requirement? You know, how many people they guaranteed? 20, 25, 30?
With the
No.
big room like we had before, the exact same room with tables that seat 8 people. I think there was 10 tables, or was there 8 tables? I can't remember how many tables we actually had.
Well, a couple times we used that room downstairs.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have the video. Does it have video capability downstairs?
I don't know.
I think so.
Does it, Doug? Okay.
Doug's saying yes.
It has video downstairs, but you don't want to be downstairs because it's too close to quarters. You can stand in the celebrity ballroom, you spread everybody out, and like Dick said, you go live as soon as possible. You got a program to try to create new members to come into the club. They're going to want to come to and you're advertising a lunch speaker if you're going to do that. So, you know, at this point, if you're going to stay on Zoom, eliminate the membership thing, because you're not going to get members to go on Zoom for the first time. So you ought to just forget about that for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree that we should go live as soon as possible, but I will check with the speaker, Battalion Chief Bevelins, that he's okay.
Well, if they want to, if the speakers want to speak to the club, there's there's multiple screens there, and you can do Zoom so that they can speak via the monitors in the room, which works perfectly. No, Just sit there like watching television.
I know, yeah. I'll give him that option.
Makes sense.
So the question is, would we offer both a Zoom or just only in person? If we go live?
Steve said yes, but it would be problematic, okay, in order to do that, all right, to set it up.
Well, I think it's important though, especially during the summer, because people will be gone. Like I'm going to be gone all summer.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, that's normal that you have low attendance during the summer, so.
Is Doug treasurer?
But if we could have Zoom, it would be great because then people who are gone could still participate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because on Zoom, they can participate from wherever they are.
Right.
But it will be problematic in that room, right, Doug? It's
Well, ask the new person, Steve, maybe the new person has got more savvy.
They don't, Floyd, the new general manager for the facility will not be hired until June. They are just now going out for a search, okay?
Oh.
And so there's going to be quite a process for them to go through and bring in. The person that Dorothy's been talking to is the banquet manager over there, who handles the banquets for all the events at the club.
Yeah.
Well, there must be an IT person there.
Well, see, it was Steve. So Steve kind of did both, you know.
Oh.
There is an IT person, but Steve's still there and he's going to remain there through June. So, I mean.
So my question is, how soon do you want to go live with, we can't book that great big room and because don't forget, they bring the staff in and they buy all the food, you know, for our luncheon by how many people we have with the reservation. So if we have 2 people that are going to come live, we can't.
Right.
How can we do the room?
Is there any risk of losing the room if we don't go live?
There wasn't any comment to that, just that he said he needed to know by May 1st. So I think that's just their own deadline because they have booked us, okay? They booked the Rotary back into that room. They just need to know, when are we going to start?
Well, I like Dick, I'd like to start as soon as possible, but for you, Dorothy, and Aha, how soon can we have a practical system of getting confirmed yeses for the following Monday?
Well, it's an email that goes out to everyone as to, you know, you book your reservation. And then we send that to the View as to how many people are coming. We have to have that into them by Friday. You know how we used to get the email that said your reservation. Now, I don't know how to do the Facebook side of this club. I've never been shown that or had, you know, remember before we just clicked and it sent our request?
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, but that person is no longer with us. It was a person who did the Facebook for us. And he has moved out of the area. from what I
Brenda, you wanna do
understand.
Dorothy, may I speak?
No, this is about.
May I speak?
Yes, sir.
This requirement by the View that we start from May 1st, I need to check with our health officer of the county as to what is the requirement. I know from the State Department, they have already sent out, as of yesterday, the requirement that we all be completely vaccinated before we congregate.
Yes, yes.
So every one of us who wants to come,
I changed this to the hand.
that includes Mr. Porter. Even if you're over 90, you still have to be vaccinated completely before you are allowed to congregate. And so that will limit our numbers. But
They did change the restriction on spacing from 6 to 3 feet.
Yeah. Steve said that there was no problem with the room. Okay, that was not the problem with us having our meeting. It was just us. When did we want to begin?
And as long as we have enough, not enough, whoever has taken their complete vaccination, which I have, I'll come. And I would recommend all of you who have already had your complete vaccination, please come over. We'll have a ball.
Can I ask this question?
Yes.
Is it wrong of us to send out an email for the secretary to send out an email stating that we are considering going live? First of all, we need to know who has completed their vaccinations, okay, that they've had their 2 vaccinations, or they had the one that, you know, the only one that you only need the 1 shot.
Yes.
And I think that maybe May 3rd is too soon. Maybe we should wait a week or so to get well organized to open up. It's up to everyone else, because we're talking that's next week. That is next Monday.
Everything I've read, just to be clear, everything that I think, not everything, I've read in a couple spots where when there's a requirement for vaccination, it's with the caveat that once they go from being experimental,
Yeah,
they're not approved.
Yeah.
So
you cannot require anyone to take it.
No, we were just asking, have they had their vaccination?
No, professor said that according to the health person, that you can open up as long as people that attend have been vaccinated.
Well, also remember, they say you have to wait 14 days after you were vaccinated to get full immunity.
Yes.
Well, you can't require something that has an experimental approval.
Yeah, but we're not requiring. I was just asking who has been vaccinated and who is willing to meet live. I think we have to take our whole membership into this consideration.
Dorothy, I don't think you can ask medical questions like that either, but you can ask, if you're willing to tell us if you're vaccinated. I mean, give me a break.
Or the other way around, we can always tell that if you are completely vaccinated, please join us for lunch.
I don't think that's our limiting factor. I think the limiting factor is the summer, as Doug pointed out.
Yes.
There's always a lull because people leave. For example, we leave for 4 months. I know Dick and Jan leave for a month because we see them.
Floyd's leaving.
Chucky, you tend to travel.
Dennis Franks leaves.
When you put it all together, you may end up with very few people coming.
10 people, like I remember last year, the year before, because we didn't have last year, there was some Mondays when we only had 10 people there.
But they're going to be.
Right, Howard? I mean, you were there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we have fewer members now.
Yeah.
A lot fewer members.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people who left us were also people who didn't attend the summer because they went away. Like AJ goes away every year.
Yep.
He's in Newport all summer.
Yeah. And now I think he'll be going probably up north further, like to where his son is. So there's, we're getting a year older, in our movements. So I just want to make sure that we want to have that expense to our members and to the club.
If the decision is to hold off on in-person meetings, and that's the club's decision, I would suggest that you reconsider your membership program at the market this summer. It's going to change from mornings to evenings anyway. And something that you should take into consideration, hold off on your program to bring in new members until you're ready to go live at the View in the fall.
I think Doug is right. I guess the real question is how many people will actually be around to come to the meetings in the summer? You know, of the people here or others, you know, do you think you can get 10 people or 12, whatever?
I can tell you historically, that's been about it in the summer when we had a membership roster of high 40s. You still only got about, and it got so low at times where the only thing we would do is meet in the dining room, and each individual member would order from the menu and pay individually, because you didn't have enough people for them to bring in the special banquet crew to serve the membership in the celebrity room.
Because remember, that's a total different cook and preparer just for our meeting. It's not part of the actual View staff. It's a person brought in special just to do our luncheon.
Doug, you may have a good idea. You know, maybe we should meet like that live, starting now for those who have been vaccinated, and have that go through the summer. So those of us that can and want to get together can do so. Every Monday is normal. And if we only have 6 or 8 people.
Howard, that's a possibility, and it is not inconsistent with what Dorothy was doing at Don Diego's.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking about.
We're meeting as a social group, not a club.
Where you would bring in, you know, you get maybe 10 people there and have a luncheon. So, I mean, that concept.
Now, here's the thing. So far, I have speakers booked through May 17th. I'm still working on the one for hang on, trying to finalize a speaker for the 24th. Okay. So if we stay as we are, all speakers are ready for Zoom. Okay, no problem. It's getting them there live if they so wish to do live. It's up to the members, but I'm just worried about May 3rd being too soon. I don't know how the rest of you feel, because that's next Monday, getting everything organized, getting the emails out, getting it to all the members, you know, and because our members don't even, some of our most ardent members who were at every Rotary meeting at the View are not on View.
Well, listen, we thrashed through this thing. So why don't I propose that we continue Zoom meetings until September 1.
Right.
Okay. And you can schedule your speakers on Zoom. We just do Zoom meetings till September 1. Do not do any more membership acquisition program until September 1, when everyone's starting to come back to the desert. You can do your Zoom meetings on Monday. If anybody wants to get together as individually as club members, they can do that on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, whatever. But you do your official meeting by Zoom on Monday. I would propose that. Ask you for, if we're going to do this officially, give me a second, take a vote on it. Let's move on.
Okay. All right.
Second it, because I think we've met some people who say they would like to be members, but we don't want to invite them to just come to a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
You've got to have in-person meetings for them to come.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they're like,
sure.
What I've learned through my presidential training, there are numbers of clubs within our district that only meet on Zoom. Surprisingly, that's the only way they've ever met, and they still get members. So, you know, we're because like one of them is oh gosh, what's his name? Delacroix. I mean, they get members all the time, and they only meet on Zoom, but they cover a very wide area, you know, up in the mountains. So.
Well,
you know, Palm Desert has done very well on Zoom. They've thrived and actually grown. I don't think we want to stop getting members. If a person wants a member, I'm not going to say no. No. You gotta wait till September. The
Yeah.
difficulty is, July 1 is the beginning of the new year. And we run into this every time where you gotta get your billing out, you gotta get people to renew. And the farther you get into the system, into the season, it's harder to get that money.
Mhm, mhm. And isn't it that if they don't pay their dues by July 1st, Doug, they're not put on the roster? Is that right? Or is there a grace period?
There's a grace period. There's a grace period, but I mean, we're dealing with so many separate issues here. And the issue on the table now is, do we continue Zoom meetings until September 1? Let's decide that.
Yeah, if you limit to that.
Just a minute, Rod. And I made that motion. It was seconded by Ed. Let's take a vote on that and get that out of the way, okay?
Doug, you added that to stop doing the membership efforts. And so as long as you remove that, I think that helps.
The discussion is removing the membership efforts. Yeah.
Okay.
Continue with the membership efforts.
Yes.
Because I think that little booth at the farmer's market is a secret little gold mine in some ways or another, so.
Well,
it's hard to make that work, I think.
But let's don't deal with that right now. Let's just decide we're going to continue Zoom until September 1, okay? And then Rod, you could go over there at night during the summer.
Okay, the motion has been first and seconded to that we continue on Zoom until September 1st. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
None.
None. Okay, so then Dr. Mahapatra, shall I send the email to the View, or do you wish that we're not going to open up until September?
To the View?
To the View. I have to let him know about the contract.
I don't know the lady, so go ahead for the moment.
Okay.
Please send out an email telling that we are going to put it on hold
until September 1st. Okay. All right.
We should email the whole membership and let them know.
Yeah.
Yes, we will send everybody.
Yeah, we will send an email to all the memberships, Corinne, about the fact that we're not going to open up live until September 1st. Okay. And
ask everybody, are you all getting my Google group mail from me when I send out your invitation on the Google group, Indian World Google group?
I get it.
I'm getting your Google group email, but I can't get into your Google group email. Remember, because it doesn't know me, it doesn't like me. So you always have to send me a special email with the password and the phone number. It just doesn't like me.
For you, I do.
Yeah. Please.
I log on and it says, you are not a member of the Indian Wells Rotary. Please go away.
How did you send the email, Professor? I didn't get it.
See?
But we couldn't get in either with Rod.
I don't feel so bad.
Rod is on it. I somehow have to add a.
We couldn't get in, but that's okay.
Okay. Now we have a proposal for the sign in the View lobby. Okay, which all of you got this lovely one. Okay. That we would put on a stand in the lobby. The only thing I would like to suggest about it is that however we lay it out, that we have the speakers for the whole month or for 2 weeks or for the next 3 weeks or whatever it is, that there's the actual picture and the bio, a little bit about the speakers that we have booked for the dates. Okay. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah, but this would start in September, Dorothy.
In September, yeah. This is all part of that September jazz. Okay. So we have time to work on this. I would just like to see it laid out and then we can go from there. How's that?
Right.
You got this one, Rod? And it has, now, here's the other thing, and we're going to get into committee reports in just a minute, Howard, where we will talk about business cards and phone numbers, okay? All right. We have a new secretary, for those of you who aren't aware, it's Corinne Murphy, okay? She'll be, is it the treasurer or the secretary, Doug, who sends out the bill? Oh, he's left us. Who sends out the bill to the members, treasurer or secretary?
Treasurer.
The president. Okay, Dr. Mahapatra.
Not Treasurer,
Okay, Dr. Mahapatra is going to send you a bill.
the one who sends out the bill.
Okay, all right. Okay, we have a new treasurer,
And Mrs.
Diane Kitagawa. Is it
Diana.
Kitagawa?
Diana Kitagawa, yeah.
Kitagawa. Okay, she's our treasurer. Just so you know, Corinne and Diana, in my office are 2 boxes, and I don't know what is what, but they're for the 2 of you. So whenever you'd like to meet, and we can
Look through them.
sit on the floor and go through the boxes, okay? All right, of treasurer and
I'll do that.
secretary. Okay, now we're gonna go into committee reports, okay? So, Ed, scholarship, chair.
Yes, a couple of things there. I've had a discussion with Doug, and the reality is we have 3 students we are supporting totally who go to CSUSB right now, and they'll graduate. 2 of them will. 2 are nursing students, and 1 is in a different field. I don't even remember, but it's, in a sense, it's premature to discuss what we're going to do because for this coming year, we're still funding these people. But the discussion Doug and I had was, what do we do with the scholarship money? We're now using it for these 3 people. Doug's suggestion is we go back to our old approach, which is to give the scholarship money to individual high school students. That way we give out smaller amounts to a larger number of people and we get more recognition. So I don't want to debate it now because we can't act on it right now. But in the fall, when we begin getting closer, I think we should have this conversation to be brought up, and all of you can have an impact on discussing that.
And if I can correct you,
Okay.
that was not necessarily a proposal by me, but a suggestion rather than just a suggestion. I brought it up to say, this is what we used to do. That's one of the things that the club may want to think about in the future, whether or not it wants to continue with the program with the school, or do they want to and you may recall the conversation led to, if you're trying to get more exposure for the Indian Wells Rotary Club and you're giving out 16 scholarships, do you get more exposure, news in the paper, yada yada yada, that kind of thing, rather than, now I didn't have a hard fast, this is what we should do. I want the members to understand.
Yeah.
That was not what I was proposing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misstated it. The gist of it is you suggested this particular idea. We've been doing something different. So in the fall, when we get back together, we should debate that.
Well, let me add something else, Ed. If you're going to, there's some action that needs to be taken now, okay, to fund those 3 students at the college for the fall term beginning in September. It's now May, and so there has to be some action by the club with the community foundation and the school to fund them for another year.
Well, I put the thing on hold, and my suggestion, Doug, is that next month in our 4th week, where we have these kind of things, maybe we bring that up again and really debate it. It's going to take a while for this discussion, so I'm just suggesting we do it at a later time. But I agree with you, but I have contacted the Community Foundation about putting a hold on giving any more money until we resolve it.
Okay.
Okay, so the
second-
pending agenda for May is the scholarships, right?
Yes.
Yes, in May, yes.
Okay.
A second issue I want to raise is about the car show. I'm like Doug said, I'm not recommending anything here. It's a question. I remember last year's car show, a number of our members are elderly, and Al Weesey came and almost passed out. We had to call security to help him take him to his car. We were concerned about it. So I guess the question is, of course, we could recruit some new members and that might change everything. But over time, as we've gotten older, it's a little harder to do that. And I correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but I think we raised about $7,000, give or take. And so there may be other ways that we can raise money other than the car show. For example, in talking to the La Quinta Club, they don't raise money that way. They actually go out and volunteer at various organizations to help them. For example, like the Fine Food Bank, they go and they work in these different things. And as you know, it's not that we don't have money. We have $15,000 a year from the Oliphant Scholarship. So it's really a question that I'm raising for some later discussion about, do we want to continue doing what we're doing? Another area, for example, is galas. At the last Tom Flores thing, Claudette suggested a gala, but Steve and I talked her out of it because we said galas are expensive. There's a risk factor of putting out money. And as you know, we didn't do a gala, we did an afternoon event, which proved successful. So the other thing is, as we've talked to different people, they tell us they're not going to go to galas in the same way that they did in the past. I think the COVID thing has had some impact. So I'm only just raising a situation in which maybe we could, at this point in time, begin to rethink what we're actually doing. And my last subject before Dick talks is membership. I was membership chairman for World Affairs for about 9 years. And in my analysis of it, I discovered 25% of the members leave every year. I mean, no matter what we did, we could not stop that. And we call people. There's a variety of reasons. And for example, in our club, some have passed away, like Lou Spohr, or others become too old to go, or people move away, or they get mad at the club, or 15 other reasons. So my point is, we need to plan for replacing members every year. Otherwise, we're going to shrink. And I asked Doug this morning, Doug, you didn't respond, but I said, well, we have 30 members based on the list you sent. What is our historical average? So you mentioned this morning it's in the high 40s. So what I'm trying to do here is see if we can set a goal. So let's say our goal for next year is to bring in 10 or 15 new members or whatever. Not that we wouldn't take more, but we need to have some target that we have. And this happens every year because we are going to lose some members every year. It's just every organization does. And so the question then is how to do it. I've suggested that the best way when we're in person is to have a sign in the view, because here are people that come to that facility anyway. They obviously live in the area and so on, but there are clearly other ways as well. So when we're able to meet again, we need to start talking about how to do that. But we need to have some target in mind so it's not just random occurrences.
Ed, let me address 2 or 3 of your issues. Number one, I don't know that the Indian Wells Rotary will get the privilege of selling beer at the car show when they have the car show, number one.
Okay.
Secondly, I've had a discussion with a couple of the members at the La Quinta Club that if we do get it, and in fact, I talked to some of the car guys, as you know, I own some old cars and we always get together and they suggested that we bring in, they've wanted me to bring in some other clubs or other people to help because they want to spread the money around. So that's one of the things that might mitigate your issue on the elderly helping out. So there's a couple of ways when they do start the car show up. The issue of putting a sign in the lobby at the view, we have not been successful in getting them to agree to allow us to put any kind of sign up in the lobby other than the day of the Rotary, to say the Rotary Club's meeting upstairs or whatever. They do have a monitor we would, if we could get the city to produce some kind of notice or, for lack of better definition, advertisement of some kind on that monitor that scrolls all the time, that talks about the Rotary. It would require some technology, some experience, expertise in that area of creating an ad to put on that monitor.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm
And
familiar
also
with
there's
it.
the Indian Wells newsletter too, that goes out.
Yeah, I think, we just have to see what can be done. I did talk to Steve about it, and he thought it might be possible. I mean, we have Greg and Kimberly on the city council there. It's a question of what they'll let us do, but obviously a sandwich board that described what we, when we meet and so on, would be more effective, because I don't think people pay that much attention to that monitor. It's better than nothing for sure.
Yeah.
So I think we just kind of have to see what they'll let us do when the time comes.
Because I think
Okay.
the monitor for the View restaurant is right at the cashier, like when you check in, isn't it? It's nowhere else?
No.
Next to
Oh,
the
it's down-
hostess.
It's downstairs
Yeah,
by the hostess,
yeah.
behind the
Right
hostess.
above the
Yeah,
hostess.
and then there's one upstairs when you check in, right? At the restaurant.
They got all kinds of them up there,
Yeah,
but they show programming.
yeah, that's the televisions, yeah. But the actual monitor, there's one right as you check in for your reservation at the View upstairs. Okay, so also, we could go into volunteering a bit, Ed. You had suggested that we volunteer for these different things, like, the food bank or the Coachella Valley Rescue Commission, and make a point of letting everybody know that Indian Wells Rotary was there or is going to be there to help support. Last week, I had some new training from my payroll company for a whole new computer program. Like, there's not enough going on with Rotary. I also have to learn a new computer program with payroll. The BBSI, who does my payroll, is offering their employees, because the young man said he saw the Rotary thing and he says, "Oh, Tom, what is the Rotary?" So I told him all about it. And he says, "Gosh, that we get paid 4 days a month to do volunteer work if we so wish." And I thought, what a great thing to bring in these other people to volunteer for the Rotary. And they're here as volunteers for the Rotary. Like even our little farmers market thing, where there's a volunteer there. And he was absolutely so excited about possibly doing volunteer work for the Indian Wells Rotary. And then I said, well, maybe, the BBSI office here manager would like to become a member, or even you can become a member. And he was so excited. So let's not overlook that possibility of going out to corporations and getting volunteers for the Indian Wells Rotary.
Good idea.
It's a great idea.
So he's waiting for a call to find out where you'd like him. Okay, and his name is Jesse Andretti. Okay, all right. So I agree with you, Ed. We need to do a lot to get our name out there. We really do. And the problem is our membership is few in this. It really is, with the people who are capable of doing some of the things that we really need to do. And I don't mean that as a slant on anybody. You just know that we have fewer and fewer people that can do things that need to be done. So, okay, so membership chair, Dick. Anything to report?
Well, I've been membership chairman maybe 20, 25 times for this club. And Ed is right. Each time we establish some sort of a goal, and we have met that goal almost every time.
Mhm,
But the best way to meet that goal is face-to-face,
mhm, mhm,
personal invitation,
mhm.
and that way you're able to bring people in. I
Mhm.
probably brought in over 100 members to the club
Oh my God.
over the years. But and some of you are some of those members.
Yeah, right. Some of us are, yeah.
But it's not easy to do with the Zoom, and
Yeah,
because it is such a personal thing.
yeah. But
We'll manage. We'll get it.
okay. Well, in the Zooming, is anybody comfortable, like with if you're inviting a friend to Rotary, to have them in your home to sit with you on Zoom to meet people? I mean, there's always that way, right? Where you're actually with the person who's sponsoring you.
You can also give them our invitation.
Oh, yeah, well, I've done that, as you know, where I've given it out and they've shown up, yeah,
And join us. Just forward them the invitation.
right. And they're always introduced and I let the host know who is coming aboard as my guest, right, Doug? I've let you know to let this person in, so.
Well, you know, back in Ohio, we do a few things right there. And that club went down pretty low, like a lot of others, although we started with 200. So we didn't have to, we could lose a few and still have a good club. We got a bunch of young people that were really solid kinds of guys and gals. They had guys and gals, and they attracted other people. So they really became the salesman for the club after a certain group of people, which we weren't always close to, the younger people. But you know, in the old days, you used to be able to bring in associates. In other words, all of us have people in our organizations who are younger. And as we get older, it's easy to go to those people. And you were able to go, what we called it, Dick, additional actives or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Anyhow, they're part of the bloodline in our companies or in our organizations. You bring a couple of those young people, you say, listen, buddy, I'm getting to the point where I need you to step in here and to start bringing some of your friends in. So you start thinking that way. Your actual children, if we have children around, not many of us have children living in the area, but you go to these people that are close to you, and pretty soon you develop quite a group of solid kinds of people. And you don't have to go very far to do that if you can think that through and say, and you have to pound them a little bit and say, this is something I want you to do. You've got to try it for the next year or two. And if you don't like it, you get out. But in the meantime, we think this is really important, and they respect you because you've been their boss, you've been their mentor. And so we should keep that in mind as we go out and try to find these people. They might be right under our for whatever it's worth. It's just one angle.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I know in my presidential training, they were talking about associate members within the district, about how many clubs have associate members that are their volunteers and all that for all the things they want to get done.
What I have run into many times with trying to recruit young business people is the fact that we meet at noon and they find it difficult to get away from their business at noon.
You know, Dick, that's somewhat of an excuse. I think anyhow, we're not doing it every week or every day. And once in a while, they have to be sold on the value of the membership. If they are, they'll take time out for one lunch to be there if their friends are there and if they think we're accomplishing something. So I mean, you know, I don't know. Yeah. Some will say it's cost too much too. Can't afford it, but their organizations in many cases pay that. And I think you raise it to the level of what we're doing in the community and what the values of Rotary are.
That's true.
Ricardo told me that their Sunset Club disbanded. That was unfortunate. These were younger people who actually
Breakfast Club
met at breakfast.
And the Trends, yes, and the Breakfast Club disbanded. Yes.
Yes, and I talked to him about it. I said, well, why did that happen? Because they met early, and so it wasn't a conflict of time, like you said, Stu. But he said a few of them didn't come, others couldn't afford to come, and finally it dwindled down to 6. And so the district manager or whoever in Rotary pulled the plug on the whole thing.
Well, I know the Breakfast Club with Palm Desert, she was the president-elect for the new year, and it ended up where she was the only board member because no one else would take a position. So they disbanded the club, because there was only a president. That was it. No one else would take a position. So that's really sad too.
In the heyday of that club, I used to make up there quite a bit. And the membership included mostly lawyers
Mhm.
and other professional people who couldn't take time out of the day. And was really quite a club at that time.
Yeah, it was huge.
Hey, guys, the bewitching hour is coming up on us here very quickly at 1:30. So
Okay, let's move. Oh, okay. Well, Howard, we need to discuss the booth because we need to discuss the fact that we need to print business cards. And Doug, I need the key to the mailbox too, by the way, so I can get in there.
I've got it and I'll
Okay,
get it to
and
you. I'll
second-
drop it off.
Okay, now, the phone. We have to give a phone number for someone to call the Rotary. Now, I have a private line right here. It's a private, it only rings in my office, and it's an answering machine. And I would be more than willing to let that become part of Rotary's phone number if you want it on the business card. But if I'm not here, let's say, it's just gonna ring and the people are gonna leave a message. But one nice thing about this phone, it beeps at me until I respond to that phone message, okay? You go nuts listening to beep, beep, so anyway, but we need to have a phone number on that business card.
That's
Okay.
a
Good idea.
Because it has an answering machine too.
It's an answering machine right on it, and they just leave their message and I will call them back, because like I said, it drives me crazy till I respond.
What does the answering machine, what does it say when someone calls in?
It's just, well, I can record. Right now, it's just the little man who says, no one's here to answer your phone.
Oh,
right
that's
now,
fine. Okay.
Because I don't give this phone number out except to people that I want to call me, okay? So I can add a message on there. You've reached the Indian Wells Rotary, so that's fine. And believe me, not that many people call me now with the cell phones, but that is a number for them to call. And it's a real easy number. It's 776-8333. So we just have to know what to print on the business cards.
Let's do it.
Okay. And
great idea.
Okay. We can get a separate cell phone where it passes from.
No. We've already made the decision, Dorothy. It's your phone. We're going to.
Okay, good. Can I use my phone?
Let's go. Don't say anything else.
Maple Leaf is paying for it. Okay, so next thing.
Four-way test.
Real quick, Doug, I need to know about the credit card and the bank statements and who's the CPA. So
CPA is
just get that information to me offline. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Actually, the information, I gave that information to Jill this morning.
Okay,
and
now.
I gave her Diana's contact information, so she'll be contacting Diana, the
great.
treasurer.
Now, Howard, we'll discuss the farmer's booth next week, first thing, okay?
Okay.
Because the biggest thing with you was the business cards, right? So
Yeah,
how
we
many
have to have
business
something.
cards do you want us to print, everybody? The minimum, 500, 50, 100?
Make an executive decision.
Yeah, we could start with 500.
Dr. Mahapatra?
We can always reorder.
Cards do you want? And these will just be generic, just the Indian Wells Rotary, right? No name.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you all very much. I think this was a great meeting. I think we need to do it more often, then we don't have so much to discuss. But anyway, okay. I'm not even gonna ask for any old business or any new business because that's
Good.
that's gonna be a whole nother hour. Okay, next week's speaker is Commander Mike Bevlin, the battalion chief at the Indian Wells Fire Station. He's going to take us on a virtual view of the new ambulance they have, and he represents the Indian Wells, Palm Desert, and Riverside County Fire Department and Rancho Mirage. Okay, great speaker. All right, four-way test.
All right. Is it the truth?
It's the
Is it
truth.
fair to all concerned?
Fair to all concerned.
Will it build
Will
goodwill and better friendship?
and better friendships.
Will it be
Will it be
beneficial to all
beneficial
concerned?
to all concerned.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
See you next week.
All right.
I'll get with you,
That's
Dr.
it.
Mahapatra, about the view. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.
Hi, Charles. How are you?
Bye.
Good to see you. You can unmute yourself because I didn't drop you.